Hi friends, this is Tiina and welcome to my new video. I know this intro is a little bit different, but it's because this video itself is not like the other videos that I normally post, so I thought that this would be fitting. If you have followed me for a little while, you might know that my videos normally are these flat lay videos with me painting in my bullet journal or in my sketchbook, but this time I'm posting an art vlog or painting every day for a week kind of video, and I just thought that me starting this video and coming here to give you a little introduction on it would be kind of fitting. So I filmed this video back in December, and I think this video was a great opportunity for me to get back into my sketchbook because I had like a month-long break before that I didn't paint anything in it. I just wasn't feeling motivated, but I was inspired, but I just never really had the time or the motivation to take my brushes and my sketchbook and start painting. So I was like, if I'm filming a video for it, I know I will do it. So I decided to do it, and I'm really happy because still to this day I am painting a lot more than before filming this video. So yeah, I had a lot of these beautiful wintry landscape pictures saved on my Unsplash account, and I was like, I want to paint all of these, but I just kind of find the motivation, and I'm glad I did because I really have loved painting wintry landscapes, and they have definitely brought my inspiration back again. So I'm really excited to show those paintings to you in this video. And yeah, I think without further ado, we can go to the day one, and voiceover Tiina will guide you through this week. Hello, voiceover Tiina here, and we're starting with day one, of course. And yeah, I'm just starting with my sketchbook, and I have to say the start was a struggle. I wanted to pick something quite simple and easy to kind of ease into the idea of painting again after a long break in the sketchbook, and just like kind of getting ready to paint every day, since that's definitely something that you have to in some ways get used to. But I felt like I was kind of avoiding painting to the last minute this day because I was not having the best day for some reason. I don't know if any of you are also like having these issues sometimes, but I guess when I'm having some of those off days, it is easier for me to like get into the bad mood, and then my mind starts kind of sabotaging me. And this day, for some reason, I created the saddest stories in my head, and I completely let them take over my head. And I remember that I was crying through most of this process when I was painting this painting, and I don't really understand what happened there, but I guess that's just the reality of creating art sometimes, like crying through the painting process. But luckily I feel like painting always makes things a little bit easier for me, so it's fine. We got through this one, and I don't know even what I was crying about. But in this whole video I'm pretty much using Talens gouache, and I'm using my Moleskine art collection sketchbook. And yeah, I will link all of those products that I'm using in this video down in the description if any of you want to check them out. This day we also had about the most beautiful weather outside that you could ever imagine, so I'm gonna be showing you a couple of clips of me just enjoying the weather outside, and yeah, maybe you can get into the winter mood with me. Maybe now you can also understand where my inspiration for these wintry landscapes come from. I've been getting some comments on TikTok like saying something like, I hate that these beautiful paintings are inside a sketchbook, they should be, on a wall or in a museum or something. And while I understand completely what those comments mean, I still really disagree because I love the idea of having these beautiful time-consuming paintings inside one sketchbook. I just love always just going through my own sketchbooks and my own art, and I love, you know, the time capsule that this sketchbook is right now, because I am right now like in real time, not in this video, but I have finished this over halfway at this point, and I just love going through these paintings that I have created and like seeing what I have spent time on and just seeing all these beautiful paintings at once and being able to, you know, really have like all these memories inside the covers of a notebook. And I also love the idea that, you know, it feels more low-key painting in the sketchbook, because I know that I don't have to create masterpieces because I'm not using the most expensive watercolor paper. I'm just, you know, using a regular sketchbook. And I would highly recommend doing that sometimes as well. I feel like sometimes we even subconsciously take these huge amounts of pressure on ourselves when we are creating art. So this has felt really great. Day 2 instantly felt better. I felt more motivated and much more like inspired to continuing to paint. I feel like it almost might have been the darkness that we had while I was painting the first half of this painting the other day, but I feel like this day definitely brought some new flow into my life, and I really liked the rest of this process, even though I don't think this painting actually turned out like the best work that I have ever done. But this painting definitely felt more of like a practice, and like I said, like me just getting used to painting every day and painting in the sketchbook. I didn't take it too seriously, or I didn't work on any details for too long. I was just kind of enjoying creating this pretty fast and without any pressure on myself. And my goal for this challenge of trying to finish the sketchbook has mostly been just filling out my pages and not, like I said, not creating masterpieces. And I feel like that kind of goal in mind, I can create so much more beautiful things than when I would be like, you know, pressuring myself to creating these beautiful pieces each and every time. I feel like I said, we can subconsciously put on so much pressure on ourselves, and I feel like, you know, just having that mindset of just wanting to fill the pages, wanting to create art and not worry about how it looks like is so much better than, you know, just having to force yourself to paint every day and being then super sad about not creating really beautiful things. Because the truth is, even though a painting can be pretty, it might not be something you absolutely love. For example, this one, I know this painting is beautiful, but I just don't have that kind of huge attachment to it. I feel like the background maybe turned out to be a little bit like dull in my opinion, but I at least like the red cabin and the little pop of color in the middle. I think a great way to reset your mind, especially after those not so great days, is to start your new day with journaling. And that's what I decided to do here. I really just enjoyed sitting in front of my window and just, you know, drinking some tea and being able to write down my feelings about this week so far and about yesterday. And I really liked just, you know, sitting down, being by myself and just kind of focusing on myself and trying to, you know, refocus on the things that I wanted to do this week and wanted to achieve on the upcoming days, and also like go through my habit triggers and all those things. If you want to see any of my bullet journal setup videos, I will link some of those in the description if you haven't seen them. I mean, if you haven't seen them, this is probably your first video, so welcome. So since on the day 2 it was still really early, I decided to paint another picture, and I of course am working on the page next to the one that I worked on yesterday, and I wanted to create something that kind of has a similar vibe, at least a similar color scheme, but it's still, you know, distinctive, but they also work together well. So I went with this kind of rowan tree branch with these red berries and some snow on top and this kind of hazy and frosty background. I have to say, I have not felt really creative in a long time, and I know that might sound really weird because I've been posting on social media pretty much every day, and you have just seen my paintings all the time, and you might be wondering how I haven't felt creative, but I definitely have noticed that inspiration and motivation does not mean creativity, and I've definitely learned that in the last couple of months while I've been trying to paint a lot. And I've noticed that inspiration for me comes in a manual way and not like automatically. So I sometimes just like get a little bit inspired to paint something, and then I go to Unsplash and just find a pretty picture, and then I'm like, yeah, I could paint that one, and you know, then I just copy the picture into my page with paints, and that's it. I don't feel that like amazing creativity in me, and I cannot really find ways to, you know, come up with ideas by myself, and that has been really weird, and I really hope I can get better at that. It might also just be the time of the year and the, you know, darkness in here, but that has been something that I've been struggling with. On day 3, I was starting to feel more and more inspired, and I was in this kind of like a flow with my paintings, and it just felt more natural and something that I was more used to now. I continued my painting from yesterday, and I pretty much just had the boring faces of this painting ahead of me. So I painted the branches of the rowan tree, and then I started working on the background. It was this kind of hazy background with a lot of gray tones, and even though it was a little bit of a struggle, it was still a lot of fun. By the way, since this was my first art vlog and a little bit more relaxed kind of video, I just quickly want to talk to you about the process because it was definitely different from what it usually is to film a video on my channel. I included a lot of shots in this video that I wouldn't normally include in my other videos, and it was actually kind of fun to not be so like strict with what I'm including in my videos and not being as precise with my editing. I just had a lot of fun filming this video, so that was a great thing. But I also noticed while I was kind of, you know, learning to edit for this video and I was watching other art vlogs, I noticed that so many people have like the most beautiful aesthetic workspace, and I feel like that is of course sometimes, you know, made more pretty for a video, but I definitely felt a little bit weird about my like really messy desk. I mean, you cannot see the mess here. I also clean up a little bit. Like I don't want to show my really messy desk in this video either, but you know, I feel like every time people had these really aesthetic corners where they film and they have a perfect like color combinations in the background and like a really aesthetically placed, you know, items in the background as well. And I feel like overall in social media, all content is kind of like really aesthetically made. And I was just wondering like, will anyone even like this video since I just have this random white background? But I guess that actually might not matter at all. I feel like we just kind of create these aesthetics that we go by and then we do not realize that normally people might not live like that. So if your workspace is kind of boring and it doesn't really look that special, it is okay. It's totally fine. Now that I also see like the whole footage here together, I wish I would have taken more of those like behind the scenes videos because they were the most fun things to add to this video and also the most fun clips to look at. So I wish I would have filmed those more, but I guess in my next video and my next art vlog, I can do that a little bit more. But yeah, if you are so far enjoying this video, I would love to know, and I would love to hear if you would like to see more of these videos going forward because this was so much fun to film and make for you guys. But yeah, this painting turned out to be a lot of fun, and I do like it a little bit more than the previous painting, so I think it was a win in that regard. But yeah, it was also fun to paint something wintry, but not like the most obvious wintry landscape or anything. Since I still had some time this day, I wanted to squeeze in another painting, and I again wasn't feeling too inspired by this, but I had this painting that I wanted to do for Christmas. So my grandparents have wanted this painting from me for a little while now. They have said that they would love to have a painting in their wall, and I thought that I wanted to do one for Christmas, and I felt like now it is extremely important to do this because my grandma actually passed away a little while ago, and I wanted to create this for my grandpa, so I don't know, he could get this painting on his wall and he could be able to look at it because he always likes my paintings and I show them to him when I go there to visit because he doesn't have any social media or he doesn't really know how to use any like phones or anything, so I always show my videos to him on my phone and he always really likes them. So I thought that it would be nice to get this done for him for Christmas because of course this video was filmed before Christmas and he wanted to have a foresty painting, so I did just that. And like I said, I have to say I wasn't feeling the most inspired about this painting. I feel like I just have some sort of issue sometimes where if like the prompt is coming from someone else to paint something, it's not as enjoyable for me to work on the painting compared to if I would actually come up with the idea by myself and just paint something for myself. So it's always a little bit interesting to work on like a gift painting. I feel like I never get the same kind of attachment to those paintings as I do with my own paintings, and I feel like it is because I have to make it good. It's not like it's a practice painting or it's just another page in my sketchbook. It's actually a painting that is meant for being on the wall or, you know, meant to look really beautiful, and that's why I sometimes struggle starting, and sometimes it's a little bit of a harder process and a little bit more stressful, but I still think this turned out really pretty. So like you saw me in the beginning, I was really scrolling through Unsplash, but I didn't really find a picture that came to me in like this way that I wanted to paint it. So I decided to paint something that I had already painted before. I painted this basically the exact painting in my sketchbook a little while ago, and I really liked the process. It wasn't too time consuming and it also was really nice to work on it, and I liked the golden hour lighting, so I decided to, you know, paint that one because it just felt like a little bit of an easier painting to work on and it wasn't too stressful for me. And I was also using this Arteza watercolor pad for this because of course I needed to cut it out for him. Creating the ground on this painting was the most satisfying process, and it was fun to work on this more messy style because I often go for more precision with my paintings, so it was fun to work on this really messy ground and just adding these little grass strokes everywhere, and yeah, it was fun. And I also feel like even though of course the white area in this painting is like totally blown out by the lighting in my video, I feel like it's still kind of like it's a little striking. I don't know how that happened, but it definitely looks like it's the lightest color in the world. But yeah, this painting was fun to work on, even though, like I said, I wasn't the most inspired to paint this. I think just the fact that it didn't take like the whole day, it was much more enjoyable, because sometimes when you do those like commission pieces or you're making a painting for someone else and you're spending like hours and hours on it, the stress levels are just so much higher, and you know, the fear of failing or making a mistakes are much higher. So it was a lot of fun, and this was kind of like one of those really relaxing paintings to work on. By the way, if you haven't followed me on Instagram yet, I always post my sketchbook paintings there. I often share them multiple times a week, so if you want to see more of them and just want to see maybe my life more as well, I will have my Instagram linked in the description, but all of my social medias are the same name as here on YouTube. I would appreciate you for checking them out. So the painting that I did on day 4 was meant to be a practice painting. So on the day 5 and 6, I knew that I was going to be working on my January setup in my bullet journal, and I wanted to paint something in my sketchbook kind of as a practice because I wasn't sure that I knew what I was doing with that cover page. So I went with this reference photo that I had found on a website and I just started painting it really messily. I didn't want to spend too much time on it or make it really detailed or perfect, and I just wanted to, practice it a little bit so when I go and paint the same thing tomorrow on a bigger scale, it's not like I'm just jumping in head first and I can just, relax a little bit more when I know that I can actually do it easier. And yeah, I think it was a good choice because I think the finished piece that I created in my cover page actually turned out a lot better than this, and this was the more messy sister of that painting, I guess. Since I'm painting every day in this video, I just quickly want to talk about that in this video as well. First of all, I know that not everyone has the capability to paint all of these huge paintings with gouache each and every day. Like, that is totally understandable, and no one is expecting anyone to be able to do that. But I think even just going in your sketchbook and doodling one thing a day or even a couple of times a week is going to keep that routine alive, and you will get so much better at doing art if you just repeat things and practice so often. And like I said, even just like doing a couple of little doodles or tiny gouache paintings, they're always going to be teaching you something. It's not like you have to do these huge time-consuming and fully thought out paintings in order to make art. You can take like 5 minutes out of your day and just work with that, work with what you have in order to get better. I have had these times in my life where I've been able to work on paintings for a month every day, and those times have been the most important for me in this art journey. Painting and making art can also help you with some mental health issues. I'm not trying to say, by the way, that hey, if you have depression, just paint something and that will make it much easier. I'm not meaning like that, but I feel like just having those healthy habits and healthy routines and having those hobbies where you can literally just like focus on one thing 100% is going to maybe make your life a little bit easier if you have the capability of doing that. Of course, I'm not saying that will help for everyone, but at least for me, when I'm painting, it is harder for me to focus on things that are happening outside that canvas, and I think that's great. Like, whatever there is that can get my mind off bad things, I will take it. But this painting was exactly what it was meaning to be. It was a great practice painting and it helped me a lot, and I really like it as well. Days 5 and 6 are put together because these were the days that I was working on my January plan with me video, and even though I painted a lot during this process, I will not be really posting that many clips from this period because I have my whole January plan with me video posted on my YouTube channel, so if you want to see that, I will link it in the cards and in the description. But yeah, first I always just, prep the area where I'm working. So as you can see, I put that little background there and I was just working on those little props in my filming background, and it stays like this for a little while. It's always pretty and aesthetic, and after a little while it gets really messy, and I will show that to you in the upcoming clips. But yeah, this theme turned out really pretty, and I also love the cover page that I created with the help of that painting I did previously. So as you can see, I always love creating the biggest mess when I'm working on my videos, and yeah, I could not hide from it this time either. Now we are on day 7 and I worked on my last painting in this sketchbook in this video, and I have to say, even though I think I like this painting in the end, this was one of the hardest paintings to make because I definitely found myself completely overworking on this painting. I always struggle with gradients a lot. It's my least favorite thing to paint. I mean, I'm not saying that it's like I don't like painting it, but since I'm not very good at it, it's just always a struggle. And of course, it would be nice to work on something that I know how to paint. But I feel like I just add too much paint on my paper when I'm doing gradients. I feel like I'm just adding too much product, and I've noticed that that might be the issue. So I definitely have to practice them more, like just making these little washes on my sketchbook and just trying to work on them in a different way, because I feel like I just painted the paper each time and then I'm surprised things didn't work out, even though I didn't necessarily practice on them for that much. But as you can see, there's this kind of harsh line on the sky in this painting as well, and yeah, I just could not really figure it out. Again, I just had too much product on the page, I think, and that's the main reason why it didn't turn out that great. But I'm painting this really cold and wintry landscape. I would assume that this is kind of like somewhere in like Alaska or Lapland or something like that. I honestly don't even know if Alaska has these kinds of landscapes, but at least, like, you know what I mean, those like super northern parts of the world where the trees are completely covered in frost and snow and ice. And I wanted to try to make a landscape like that. But yeah, like I said, I found myself overworking on this painting and that kind of ruined it a little bit. I'm not saying that this painting is completely ruined or anything. It's still a fine painting, but I wish I would have stopped sooner, and I think this would have been better. So I first started by making all of the trees these black silhouettes, and then I was just painting on that light gray color on top. And at this point of the painting, I think this looks so good, and I wish I would have left it like this. But like I said, I was overworking on it, and sometimes you just cannot go back from that even though you're really trying. But I think this week definitely helped me a lot with my little art block, and like I said, I've been painting a lot more ever since I filmed this video, and I think it just started to come to me more naturally to start painting in my sketchbook and just like take some time out of each day to do it. When I haven't had those really long breaks in between me painting, I think it's always easier to go back into my sketchbook when I kind of remember what to do. And just practicing more often, I feel like, is also good for my self-confidence in painting as well, because I trust myself so much more when I am used to painting more often. But we are soon getting to the end of this video, and I just quickly want to say that I really hope you enjoyed this video because I had a lot of fun making it. It was definitely an experimental video, and I know it's not perfect by any means, but like I said, I really enjoyed working on it and finding out new things that I can do with my videos and different ways of editing. I really hope you would like to see more of these videos in the future because I would love to film more of these relaxed making art videos. Whatever the subject is or whatever the challenge is, I could totally film my Pantone challenge as well when I started again in a couple of months, I guess. But yeah, I really appreciate you for being here and following me through this process of this video. If you like this video, don't forget to subscribe to my channel and leave a thumbs up and tell me your favorite painting so I know you watched until the end. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next video. Bye bye.